Hey, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're back on the upholstery of the 61 Impala. Where I left you before, it was just all cardboard. Now we're going to start making our panels that we're going to eventually cover in leather. So don't go anywhere. This is going to be a fun-filled, long episode full of lots of tips and tricks. So you saw me just make up a grid panel. I used some glue. I glued down this plywood, and now I'm going to hit it with my air nailer to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. This is just the first step of the bottom of the floor. This is going to lift out, and we'll be able to hide stuff underneath it, spare tire, whatever we want to do.
Now there's more than one way to skin a cat. You guys have heard that before. But this is that piece that I'm making, the last piece for the trunk, and I've had to use the slip roller. This is the piece that we're making, and I've decided to use some aluminum that I had laying around. This isn't big enough long ways, so I'm going to have to do some cutting or a little bit of redesigning, but I've used the slip roller to get the shape that I needed. And I didn't really roll it a whole lot because that'll make it too much of a radius. It'll make it more of a tube. So what I've done, I put it in here, and then I tightened up all of my clamps just to give it a soft break. All right, so you just saw me get this out of the slip roller. You can see the little radius that we've got in it. All right, from this point, we'll put a break in the back. We'll trim this off on the bottom and put a break on the bottom. That way this panel here will slide in place and be held in by magnets. That's the game plan anyway. Who knows, from this point I may change it again. Let's go see if this thing fits good. Now this piece isn't long enough to do what we want it to do all the way across, but it is going to give us a head start. So we'll trim some off the bottom, put another break in it, and I believe we're getting there. All right, so I put the brakes in the piece of aluminum. Got this going in here. Then now we've got to make these side pieces right here. But before I show you that, these blue lines on the floor represent luggage strips. So this will be carpeted. There'll be a leather band all the way around it. This will all be leather on the sides. This will be carpet, and then these will be polished aluminum strips that will have fasteners that I'll drill and tap and pull through from behind. Of course, this whole piece right here will raise out, pull out, and you got storage underneath if you need it. Right now, I'm a little worried about the blue tape. I think it may be too many of them, so I can either take out every other one, and you know me, I like odd numbers. So we'll start with one in the center, take these two out, take these two out, and then maybe even add another one on the ends or something, or just start and remove a couple and then space them out a little bit wider. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe you guys can help me. I really like the strips being in here because it'll pull away from just it being plain carpet. We can have some hidden fasteners that pop up that you can strap your luggage down to. Little details. So when it comes to the area right here on the side, we may, this is a piece that we kept for something else. Put some little panels in, some little raised panels. They'll all be flush. It'll just be a design. Maybe even a mat pocket. And this will be held on with magnets. Pull this off and there'll be a hole right there, or a door, hidden door. And that'll be your jump box so you can remotely jump off your car. That way you don't have to move anything else in here to get to the battery. We can also even put a little trickle charger in there, or we can hide the trickle charger somewhere else that'll be charging the battery. This little area right here, this piece of aluminum that I had didn't go all the way to the end, so I need to make some ends. So I thought about doing them out of foam, styrofoam, sand it down however I want it. Then I'll glass over that and then glass it to this, and this will all be one piece. Or we can make this a separate piece, do a smooth edge on it. Of course, this will all be solid. This is just one side, this is the other side. You'll see where I'm going here. We make that, and that way the only seam that we'll have will be this seam right here, and then we can get rid of that. That won't be any problem. Here are my thoughts. Everything on this side of the line is all leather. Everything on this side of the line is going to be carpet. And like I said, polished stainless. And you can see the edge going all the way around where it'll be leather. So the only thing that'll be carpeted will be just the center section. There's a rough idea of a panel for that side. Not sure yet. At this point, we can do anything we want to do. Hey, the crew of Spanky's really appreciates Wellworth Car Care products. Head on over to Wellworth Car Care products and find you the right solution to get anything you need for chemicals for your shop. Industrial grade quality on a budget-minded price. Wellworth, they're well worth it. Tell them Spanky sent you. Spanky 10 at checkout will get you 10% off. Thanks for watching. So sometimes things look a lot better on paper. This is a disaster waiting to happen right here. I put down aluminum foil, and then I got me some spray foam, a waste of about $6 right here, guys. I'm attempting to spray foam this corner and then sand it down the way I want it. But after I start trying to sand it down, I realize that the spray foam inside is still liquidy. And every time I cut it, it opens up and makes a new bubble. Did not work. Here we go to step 2. This is my usual go-to, but I was trying to do something different. That's what you should always try to do. Here I'm going to cut these little strips. We're going to take these little strips that I cut, and we are going to fiberglass them into the corners. We're going to tape them together so that they'll wrap around and stay uniform. We're going to put some masking tape down so that they won't stick to the aluminum yet, because I want to be able to pull it off and go behind it. Here we go. We're going to mix up some fiberglass. We're going to put our first layer on just to get it to hang up there. Once it's in place and it's making the curve that I want it to make. Now this is a really, really sharp curve. It's really hard to do with this plywood if you don't cut it in strips like this. But I've done this before. You'll never see the fiberglass. It's going to come out perfect. All right, so I got the 2 corners knocked out for now. You saw me cut these little strips. I put the strips in with a fiberglass paste. I put it up against the yellow tape that I had up there so that it wouldn't stick yet. That way I can pull the corners back off, glass the back side of them, sand everything smooth, rough up the aluminum, and then I'll panel bond the little curved wood pieces on to the aluminum, and we'll also panel bond that onto the long piece of plywood on the back side. That'll all be one solid piece then, and then we can foam it and do our upholstery work on it, cut on it, however we want to do it. But that gets us that one step closer. Now, I've done these in the past where I'm doing a curve, maybe in a headliner, and the curve is where it's just the opposite. I can't remember if it's this concave curve or convex curve or however you want to say it. When the gaps that are opened up are on the back side of it, you can't get the fiberglass in there to do this. When they're like this going around a corner, you can fiberglass the front side of it. So when we pull these off, I'll be able to get to the back side of it and get everything straight. But when you're cutting these and you're doing the curve, a round curve and you can get to the outside edge of the curve, you don't have to cut these all in one piece. You can go down through the thickness about 2/3 of the way, leave a little thin piece on the outside, and you can bend this really easy. Yeah, one step closer. Almost ready to start designing the layout of the trunk, how I want to do it, but we've still got a couple of more pieces to build, and then we got to do all of our gaps and stuff like that, so where the leather will have room to go in there. All right, let's get back at it.
Busy, and I'm going to subscribe to Spanky's Hot Rods and Customs.
There you go, guys. You do the same. Thanks again, buddy.
Right now, I'm going to cut these out. I'm going to cut these designs out of here where it's going to be an access door that either hinges and self-closes like a modern kitchen or held on by magnets, the center section. And I went from doing this pocket design to the design that I had on the other side. So I made these little templates, I taped them on, and I've walked past it 1,000 times to determine that I don't want this and I want the other side. Let me show you what we've come up with. All right, so this is just a rough cutout piece that is the design that I want. This is actually going to be the access panel. All right, so I cleaned up these lines with a straight edge, and then I did the curve up here. Now what I'm up against is, do I want to do the sharp corners or do I want to make it rounded? All right, so the round actually doesn't go well with the car, but it does work a lot better when you're wrapping this in leather, that if the edges are round, you can fold it and it just works a whole lot better when you're trying to wrap this stuff in leather. So I may just barely round the edges. That's where I'm stuck right now. Also, I want to try to cut this out. Whatever I decide to do, I want to try to cut this out to where I can use this piece. All right, so easiest way to cut it out is to drill a hole in it and then run a jigsaw and try to cut the line out. And you don't care whether you're wasting this or not. But what we're doing, this is all probably going to be covered in a very thin Landau type foam. Our designs and all that stuff will be in there if we decide to do that. Any kind of stainless steel strip. Anyway, you got to have allowance for 2 pieces of leather. One to wrap around this piece and then one to wrap around this piece, and they both got to go where that line is. So if we cut this out, then we're going to be okay, because the leather is probably still thicker than the saw blade. All right, so I know it's hard to see my pin line, but there's a line there that represents this piece right here, just cleaned up a little bit. So right now, we got to figure out how we're going to cut this out and be able to save this piece. Let's go see what our options are. This is where I was taking it real slow and being very careful, because the panel that I'm cutting out, I want to reuse and put it back in there, but we'll have a gap in it so that we can combine two pieces of leather and it looks nice. But I managed to get it cut out, and by the time I sand this, block the edges down to where it's perfectly flat, I'll take this and use this as a pattern for the other side. That way they'll both be the same. All right, so this will slide in here like this. And since we've got access to behind it, now we'll be able to secure this to the body with fasteners on the inside. That way on the outside, you won't see anything like this temporary screw that we had up here. All right, and if you want to know how we're securing it on the inside, we're using magnets on everything. The bottom side of the car is painted. I don't want to put any screws through it, any bolts through it. We surely don't want to do any kind of welding or anything to the outside. We got to pretend like we don't paint cars, that we just do upholstery. So we've got to preserve the paint and the body and have very, very, if any, modifications to the metal or to the body. So now that we've got this done, we'll figure out how we want to fasten it, and we'll get that done. Then we'll come back
and address the fact that we've got to figure out how we want this panel to go down, stick with magnets. So what we're gonna have to do, we have to build an inside frame from the back side here where this still mounts flush. Yep, hang on. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't get ahead of me. All right, since we've got the saw and stuff out, I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate the side that we cut. So we want to flip it in reverse. We'll line up the two patterns. Take off the design that we didn't want. All right, we're gonna line these two up to where they mirror each other. And as you can see, I went ahead and rounded the corners. It's gonna give us a cleaner finished product. All right, now my saw's not straight, so I'm going back in here and straighten these lines up with my ruler. All right, let's take it over to the saw, get her cut out.
So here I'm going to go ahead and drill a series of 3 or 4 holes, join them together right on the line. That way I can reuse this panel. No sense in drilling a big hole for the jigsaw blade. Just got to get it as small as I can. Be careful if you're trying to use both of these panels because you want to be able to go slow and take your time and stay on that line.
Well, as you can see, it's kind of dark over here. This car is up in the air and it's blocking my light. Olight to the rescue. This is the new little Olight. It's got a little pocket clip on it. I'm just gonna clip it up here on the body of the car and voila, let there be light. That's gonna help me out a whole lot.
As always, all the products that you see and I use on the channel, there's usually a link in the description that'll take you to Amazon or wherever the affiliate account is. If you happen to buy one of those off the link, the channel makes just a little bit of money. Thank you, Olight, for making a great product.
All right, we're just gonna slide this back in here for now. Let it sit there. Of course, you'll see that wood back there. And let me show you again for those that are just now finding this project. These magnets right here are meant for like, put them on the wall in your kitchen, put your knives on them. This is a magnet that is normally meant for any kind of tool, accessory, wrenches, kitchen knives, whatever you want to do with it. This, I take a piece of wood, I screw it to the back of the wood. Now I've got a surface that I can go wood to wood with, and it's going to be secure. It sticks to the bottom of the floor, just like that. We can adjust it, we can take it out. It's not screwing anything to the car. You hear that? They are stuck to the flat surface of the trunk. That's not going to go anywhere once we put a little bracket right there and secure that to that wood. All right, that's going to eliminate drilling a hole in the car that you can see from the bottom side if it's a high-end car. If you're worried about that, if you're not worried about that, go ahead and make you a metal bracket, pop rivet that thing to the bottom of your trunk, self-tapping screw, however you want to do it. Just showing you a professional way of doing it without hurting the car. Now, if you had a chance to do these panels before the car was painted, then there's other options that you can use. But if you're an upholstery shop or if you've got a car that you're redoing the upholstery on and you don't have that option, magnets, not just any magnet, but magnets will help you a lot. All right, so we've got to make a couple of other little areas to secure this with. Now we've got 2 panels with the access doors cut out, but we're nowhere near finished. Let's see what else we've got to do.
You can straighten out this plywood where I cut it crooked easily by blocking down the edges.
All right, so now that we've got these cut out, we got the edges straightened out, here's what we need to do. I need to go ahead and make a panel to go in the back where this will be able to be slid back in there. Before we get our designs cut, we're probably going to go ahead and have to take off a little bit more off the edges of this panel here so that we'll have room to wrap our leather. Let's get this done and then we'll move on to the next step. We'll start putting some foam on this. It's not that I'm trying to be cheap, I'm just trying not to be wasteful. I've got this piece of plywood that's the same thickness as the material that I'm using. And I'm just trying to line it up to where I know I can get as much as I can off the back and still have plenty down through here to where I can get two pieces out of it. And I think if I cut it right there, I can. It's not gonna hurt to have this doubled up, but you can use, I could use some 1x4s or something like that and trim around this on the inside. You're not gonna be able to see it, but I don't want it to be heavy, too heavy anyway. And we could have done it with aluminum. I could have bead rolled the inside of this, inset it, made another panel to go over top of it. But I feel like working with this wood, working with the fiberglass, I can make the shapes, I guess, make them a little bit to where you can't tell that I used aluminum and bead rolled it. Trying to be different, trying to be creative and out of the norm. So let's get this cut out and go to the next step. I'm, like I said, utilizing the area that's in the center right here, just overlapping it. So I know where these two things met. Just gonna eyeball this area down here. It's gonna draw me a line. We wanna leave some overhang in this area right here. That way, when we pull this panel off, we can just hook the panel to this little fat area right here. Let me get you closer. All right, so what I'm gonna do is just trim back this area right here, and I'll make me a little standoff for my pencil to where I can run around it and get the exact measurement all the way around. So we're gonna trim this back and cut this out to where we can glue this up to the other panel, make it thicker, and give us a place to put this. All right, now we have a right and a left. Now I'm gonna lay out the design of where I want to put the magnets. You can see I take that washer and I'll run that washer around. I'll show you this little trick right here. These are the magnets that I'm gonna be using that are gonna be holding the panels together so that you can take them off and pull this out and get whatever's behind it. So you don't have to have that many of these things. You just need enough to where it's going to hold this panel in place and not vibrate going down the road. So I need at least enough to cover that magnet to where I could drill and set that magnet behind it and make it flush. So right here, I've just got two washers. One to help keep along the edge and the other one just to guide it. So here's how I'm gonna make just a real simple, make sure I'm lined up where I need to be. Just a real simple cut line. Uniform all the way around. You can do this on your woodworking projects or this is a woodworking project, but you know what I mean. There we go. There's our cut line. We'll cut that. That'll leave us enough area to put our magnets and plenty of room to be able to reach in there and get whatever's on the other side hidden out of the way out. All right, let's get this cut out. Well, if you made it this far, I appreciate it. If you're still watching, now's a great time to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and set the notifications so that you'll know when Spanky has another video. I appreciate you following along with all my hot rod content. I hope I'm not very boring, and I hope that you're learning something. Remember, it's free to subscribe. It helps out that strange YouTube algorithm
that allows people to find us.
This is a piece we just cut out. Now we can still do some trimming on this, but the more you have back here to glue with, and you know, the sturdier it'll be. But I've got this edge down here, which is going to give us a thicker bottom, which is going to keep it from flapping and make it much more sturdier. All right, so now I'm going to laminate this up, make these two pieces one piece. Then I'm going to come back in here and clean this last jagged edge up. All right, let's get some glue.
All right, so now we're going to bond these pieces of plywood together with some Gorilla wood glue. We're going to clamp it down, keep it in place for about 30 minutes, and I promise you, you can't pull it apart.
All right, so here's where we're at. Here's what we've done so far. You can see I've already put one panel in that I've got glued up, and then the other one is slightly under pressure right this minute. So we'll get this one glued up, let it get to where it's going to be. We'll be able to put it in, but let me show you up close how this one looks. Now I've got this standing up because if you glue something like this and you leave it flat, it's going to bow on you and it's going to be locked up. So make sure you keep it straight up and down. Make sure it's not warped or anything. All right, so this is a lip that we just got through cutting. It's all being held in with some very strong magnets. I'm not sure if it's in this video or the next video. This is the panel that's going to be magnet. We're going to use magnets to hold it on right there. And you can see this gap that I've got in here. This gap is going to have 2 layers of leather in there. So you want to make sure that you've got enough room for that. And this will lay back flat. But to get this to lay flat, we've got to put some foam and stuff on it and do our body work on our foam after it's put together before we put the second layer on. One step at a time. So this will come off. Reach in, get whatever you've got stashed back here. Now this is all going to be covered. We're going to have a little box. Everything's back here. It's going to be all covered just like the rest of the car. So when you do look in here, it's not going to look like that. Plus all of that will get, trunk paint. So we're not going to be hiding any garbage. We're going to be covering everything. So when it all comes apart, it all still looks good. That's a main part of everything. But hey, this is super exciting. This stuff is hard to get, but we got the carpet for this car. Love it or hate it, I'm going to make you a believer. Woo-wee! Look at that. That's crazy looking. Now that we've got these bonded together, glued up, they're not going anywhere. That stuff is strong. This is the panel that'll go on after we get it fitting to where we can get two pieces of material, leather, down through here. All right, you don't need to do this next step, but I think it's pretty awesome. So now that we've got this together, got that piece on, the pieces that we cut out, we're going to glue these to the back side. One, it's going to help us line up the front side, but 2, it's going to give us extra strength, extra plies with that plywood so that when this is a panel by itself glued up like this, it'll be a lot more sturdier and it won't warp on us. It'll slide right into place, just like that right there. It's unnecessary, but it makes a big difference. All right, so I'm gonna get that glued up and then this will be done. It'll have a door. All we need left is to put the magnets in and the washers for the magnets to grab a hold of. And then we'll be done with this part. All right, now that the panels have been put back together, you can see how the center section will come out We've still got to put magnets in it. Now we can do our design on it. It doesn't really matter what our design is. We do have to follow the crack that's going around there, part of the design, but sky's the limit. You still got to do an access panel right here. That's where most of the electronics, battery, spare tire, stuff like that will be. Yep, we'll put a mini spare in this car because it's going to be on the road. We still got to do that. And then we're ready to foam everything. Move on to the next step. So I did just get some parts in for the Impala's interior. I got the magnets in that I was telling you guys about. Now, I've never bought these from this particular company before, but I believe they said that they had 20 pounds of pull and 40 pounds of pull. And they went all the way up to 80, 120 pounds. But I felt like if you had 6 of those on the panel, that you'd have to get a buddy to come over and help you pull them off. But so it comes with a little washer, which I mistakenly thought was one of the magnets when I just held it up. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is not very powerful. But yet, this thicker part is the magnet. And right now, that took a lot of force to pull that off. All right, so I went ahead and paid a little bit of extra, and I got the ones that had the metal shield around it with a through hole. All right, that way I can screw these in place, glue them in place, or epoxy them in place, and that just helps out a whole lot more. And then on the other panel, we'll put the washer. So I'm gonna put the washer on the outside panel that you actually are pulling off. We'll leave the magnets hooked to the larger panel. That way I can put something behind the magnets to make them flush and screw them into something a little bit thicker than that plywood. You'll see when we get to that point. Anyway, super excited about these. I got two different ones. I don't want to get them mixed up because I felt like 20 pounds might not be enough, 40 pounds might be too much. So I did the right thing and got both. These little small ones must be the 40 pounders because I can't even get it off. There it goes. You kind of have to slide them over to get them off. These things are not like refrigerator magnets. Anyway, I'm gonna put a link in the description. As always, anytime I use something that I get off of line, like Amazon, if you follow that link, the channel gets a little bit of a cut, commission, maybe a couple of pennies off of each one of these that you purchase. So do me a favor, if you're thinking about buying these on Amazon, or hey, if you're thinking about buying anything on Amazon, follow that link. It still helps the channel. You still pay the exact same price, and we get a little bit of money to buy these t-shirts that we give away every month. Go ahead and try to lay these things out about where I want them on this edge. We'll drill some holes. All right, well, I got 12, so I drilled 6 out for this panel. I'm gonna have to order some more because they are gonna be good. I'm gonna go ahead and get me a wood bit, drill all the way through, and then we're gonna mount this flush with this, with a block or something that's gonna be behind here so that these won't pull through. Let's go find out what we got. This is not the most ideal place to work, but it's a semi-flat surface, and you know me. I don't know how far this video's gone, how much I've gotten done. It's been a couple of days worth of scratching my head, doing different things, and I'm still kind of under the weather. So I need to kick that in the butt, get back well again, and then we'll jump back on this thing hard. So I hope I didn't leave you on a cliffhanger like I usually do. I hate doing that to you guys, but you know how I jump from project to project. So as always, thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. For all you guys that are sending me orders for shirts and hats and hoodies, I appreciate it. For all you guys that are commenting, man, you guys are awesome. Remember, every time you comment, your name goes in a hat. And however much I can afford, however much the sponsors have helped me out, whatever is going on, I'm going to give it all back to you. So whether it's 5 t-shirts or 50 t-shirts that month, we're going to mail them out. So good luck with all of that. All you have to do is subscribe and comment and like a video. Just like the video, send me a comment, name's in the hat. That's simple. That's all there is to it. As always, thanks for watching. Now get out in the garage and go build something. See you guys in the next episode coming soon. Spanky's gone.